Welcome to Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 32. So, we got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, with Jay Uso, Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble, Luka being traded, a Super Bowl tomorrow. Got a book review I'm going to do. Waiting for hey, good to go. Just got the live sent out. What's going on? Wait, let me get. Y'all see the titles. Going to be talking about winners and losers at the trade deadline. Definitely a few teams that lost and should have made some other moves. I was doing another mock draft, like I said, mock draft, second WNBA mock draft, since it's the second week of the month. What's going on? We're gonna have to talk about the Bulls and how bad they lost the trade deadline. Because I really don't understand why the Bulls still got Vucevic on the team. They signed Lonzo to an extension, which is a bargain of a deal. 2 years, $20 million. That's a really good deal. What's going on?
Not much, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The day should be getting on soon, but I'm gonna start with this book review. I read this book. It's a scorecasting, the hidden influences behind how sports are played in games of one. It came out in 2011. It was, but it's a good book. Like he liked the historical background, the different sports and stuff. So it's like it's a really because I want to get into sports broadcasting. So that was a great book for me to read. And
Okay.
one of the quotes, it was like they said coaches are more afraid of losing, like a big championship, than they are like if they excited about winning. Because you go to the finals and you blow, like you coaching the Wizards, you go to the finals and you blow a 3-0 lead, your job is in danger. But if you win it,
Right.
it's like you got to get right back to work because some of your assistant coaches probably gone and got new jobs and stuff.
Yeah, that's facts, man. Are you in school right now?
Yeah, I'm
College?
a I'm a senior in high school.
Oh, okay, cool. That's tough, bro. That's tough. I actually
Yeah.
I went to college for journalism,
Okay. Okay.
and I covered women's volleyball
Okay.
in high school. I mean, not high school, college. So that's pretty tough. Yeah, not to digress too much, but yeah, seeing your work, bro. I see that we have stuff in common, and I like your style. Like it's going straight to the facts, and then you go into all the context. Then you go into your opinion last. So it's really dope, bro. So I like what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Like this, like I think I posted on my story. Like I want to get to ESPN and do what Stephen A. Smith and them doing. Like I really enjoy doing this. Like at first, like when I first got into high school, I was like, I wanted to be a lawyer at first. Like want to be a defense attorney. But then I started watching sports more, getting into that, and then like my passion it just shifted to like doing content, like becoming a sports broadcaster, and I'm loving it.
Facts, bro. Like, damn, that's wild to hear, bro. Because I actually in high school I actually considered being a history teacher, and then I was like, then I thought to myself, I didn't have the patience to be a teacher at all. And then
Yeah,
it was just my love for public speaking and research, then sharing the information and sports, which led me down the path of journalism. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see how people make their decisions.
yeah, for sure. And then it was a few chapters in the book that I wanted to talk about. It was one about how offense wins championships, because we like to say that defense wins championships,
Yeah.
but it's like the context that you have to have a good offense too. And like one of my sports group chats, we were talking about the Nuggets championship and how good the defense really was. But it's like some people say it was trash. I think their defense. I broke down the stats and did the research on it. They
Yeah.
technically they had the 11th best defense in the league. Like they went to a
They
team
did.
in 2023 when they won the championship, or it said
No.
20, yeah, when
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
won the championship. It was like I went to teamrankings.com and I got all the stats and stuff. Then I did the averages, and their defense was a lot better than people thought it was. What's going on, Dave?
What's up,
What's
bro?
going on, Ed? What's going on, Regs? Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no problem. I was just talking about this book I got done reading. Scorecasting, the hidden influences behind how sports games are won and how they're played and how they won. And then one of the first things I talked about, it's like it was one of the quotes saying that coaches are more afraid of losing than they would be of winning the championship, because it's so much pressure after you lose. Like if you lose that big championship, especially in an embarrassing way, like you blow a 3-0 lead, then you probably losing your job doing something like that. But then if you win, it's like you got different assistant coaches and stuff. They get new jobs, so you got to replace them.
Facts.
Absolutely true.
Especially in NBA, the margin for error with coaches is fairly slim sometimes.
I'm glad you just brought up the NBA, the NBA in particular, because it's not. Sometimes it's not even that. You could be winning and
Right.
you can get fired. So
hmm
it varies amongst organizations as well.
Yeah. So do y'all, speaking of coaches, because there's some other stuff I'm gonna get to, but the Mike Brown situation. What was y'all initial reaction to when the Kings fired Mike Brown?
You want to go first or? Uh,
Yeah. My first thought is that it's something that we clearly don't know about it. I mean, I posted a reel that I did. Like, it just felt like that was kind of racist. Like, you don't, because black coaches, they don't get as much time as white coaches. People
oh
want to
yeah.
call it race debating, but it's true, and it's in the book too. They talk about it. Like, black coaches on a much shorter leash than a white coach is. That's just how it works.
hmm
You can see it in the NFL. Like, if you want to say Gerard Mayo is bad, okay, but he only got one season with a bad team. So how much can he prove in that 1 year?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you just brought that up because that made me think about who they replaced Mike Brown with. They replaced him with a former player of the Kings. Like they're going so backwards. They going back to like 2000s
Yeah,
uh to coach today. Like the Kings, I've never in my lifetime I've I was born in 1998. I'm 26 years old. I I've been watching basketball for a while. Not that early when the Kings were contending with the Lakers. I would say probably mid 2000s. I definitely remember watching the Heat versus the Lakers, that Christmas Day game with Kobe and Shaq. But I've never seen the Kings good at all in my lifetime. These past 2 years when they were in the playoffs, that's the closest I got. But going this backwards, they got two players that were teammates on another team playing with each other now, and they didn't like each other, and DeRozan and Zach LaVine. So I don't know what they're doing. Hopefully Mike Brown is re-signed, but the firing was weird. I think that was a player called De'Aaron Fox. He kind of surprised me with that because you can't green like that without the players. And then he ultimately got traded. So I don't know why they did that. That was weird. Race could definitely be in a part to that. I'm not denying that either. But I think that's just testament to their incompetence collectively for real.
Yeah, I gotta piggyback off that. I think the Sacramento Kings make some incompetent moves for their whole organization. I was a little bit surprised. I mean, here Mike Brown is a proven commodity as a coach. He has learned under Greg Popovich for years before becoming a coach, was successful in Cleveland with LeBron James. And let's be honest, he just took the Kings not too long ago to their most successful season in forever. So getting back to the playoffs was a big accomplishment for that group. It's been forever. So it was a little bit surprising to see him get fired. Um, but like Greg said, you can't help but feel like everything ultimately does go through the franchise player. So it's a little surprising that De'Aaron Fox would kind of, co-sign that, and whether indirectly or directly.
Yeah. And there probably is some other stuff that we don't know that's going on because Mike Brown took this team to 7 games with the Warriors and they lost to Steph putting up 50. You don't,
Right.
that's the Kings. You can't be ashamed of that. Like,
That was
you,
a big
you just
game.
can't stop Steph in the playoffs. And then it's
And
like,
I
you don't get,
honestly think they could have won that series. Yeah.
yeah, they had a good chance of winning. And then you go into the off season and you stay stagnant. You don't do anything. So it's like hard for me to look at like, oh, this is Mike Brown's fault because it's like you don't change anything in the off season. Much won't change. Like they improved by 2 games and had a worse season next year because the other teams in the West got better.
Got better, yeah. And they made moves. And with that being said, where does that leave Sabonis? Is he moving? Are they rebuilding? With having the Sacramento Bulls now? So I don't know what they're doing with Sabonis. Where does he go if he does leave? Does he
the
go to a contender or does he try to build his own team?
That's a good question. The team constructed right now, like you look at the starting lineup: Malik Monk, Zach Levine, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Sabonis. There's not one defender in that group. Like everybody's a horrible defender. So it might make sense to move Sabonis, but he's a really good regular season player. I'd
Yeah,
love to see him pop in the playoffs, but I feel like they could get a lot of depth and maybe some defenders if they dangle him. It'd be interesting to see. You can't keep this team together forever. There's not one defender in there.
you already
But
know what you know. The number one team that's looking for anybody of value. The Lakers, they'll be looking for him for sure. So
Hmm.
I put him on the market. Somebody's gonna want to get him. But I'm interested to see if he wants to build his own team because me personally, I'm kind of getting tired of star players just going to contenders. Like,
Hmm.
do they really want to build their own team? Like
Right.
which team outside of Steph Curry, I mean outside of the Warriors rather, got their own identity built by a player?
That's cool.
back to Malik Monk. Like I love Malik Monk. I've been a fan of him since Kentucky. But that brother cannot play point guard. I guarantee you,
No.
I can play better point guard than he can. Because I was watching him against Orlando, and I was like, this is terrible basketball. Like and the Magic dominated them in that game. You talking about one of the worst offenses in the league, putting up 130 points. That's when you know your defense is terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
They don't have
And
one defender in that lineup. But I will say I don't dislike Zach Levine being there. I think Zach Levine has become a little bit underappreciated. He's not the perfect player, but he is a walking 25 point per game over the last 5 years or so. So I think he could do some good there.
True. I did see Zach Levine put up 20 plus live this season. So against
Hmm.
the Boston Celtics. So he definitely needed a move, but was Sacramento their right move? I don't know what his contract is looking like right now, but might ruin his value too if he wants to leave.
yeah, but I'm almost. There's a few more things in this book. It was one chapter about like the value of block shots, and those comparing Dwight Howard and Tim Duncan, because we all know they both great defenders. And but even though Dwight had more blocks, Tim Duncan blocks was more impactful because they were getting rebounds and scoring off of his. Like even though like you
Hmm.
might have an aggressive block where it goes out of bounds, the other team gets possession right back. So I feel
Yep,
like
Hmm.
that's interesting how like it's more impactful if you're able to get the rebound and close out the possession than just blocking it out of bounds.
that's an interesting topic that you just brought up. Where'd you get that book?
I got it on Amazon.
Oh, nice. That's a great book because I've seen basketball people reference this. I remember watching the video a while back. I kind of go back to it when I get in that mode of watching old NBA stuff. I remember Red Auerbach was he had this little video, like these little old videos when he just teaching the game and how he would coach and stuff. It was him and Bill Russell. At this time, I think Bill Russell was retired. He had a modern player. I don't, at that time, I don't know who it was, but he was dribbling. He was teaching them the art of shot blocking because Bill Russell, Wilt. While their blocks isn't recorded, those are the two titans for real of the NBA. No disrespect to Hakeem and Dikembe and none of those guys, but he mentioned this like he would have the player drive to the hole and Bill Russell would block the shot, and sometimes because at that time those guys was pretty they were pioneers of the centers, and sometimes he would block it, he would catch block it, and Red Auerbach accentuated getting the rebound after you block the shot. So yeah, that rebounding, getting offensive rebound, that's crucial, and it's way more valuable to the team winning outside of the spectacular blocking the shots in the stands.
Yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. I never thought of it that way, and I'm a Tim Duncan fan to the fullest. I'm
That
a
was my
Spurs
favorite
fan.
player
Yeah,
growing up.
so
Yep.
I like that perspective. Like it is more impactful to just block it and keep it inbounds and keep the possession than to get that highlight block that goes into the third row. Even though the one that goes into the third row might look better, one is more impactful than the other. So that's really good perspective. That book's given some good things to think about.
Yeah, and then it covers like it goes from basketball, football, golf, baseball. It covers a lot of different sports. And the last chapter I wanted to talk about was it was like the comfort of being at home. Like there's a real like the home field, home court advantage. Like that really does exist in basketball, football, baseball. Like your favorite to get the calls. Like as much as people want to talk about the Chiefs getting the calls and stuff, this has always existed for the home teams. Like the home teams are favored to get the more favorable calls. That's based off the fact that they're at home, so the refs are going to tend to favor them more, and that's just how it is. Now, unfortunately, it's a really stupid idea because it's not like called fairly, but that's just how it's been all the time.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily against that either. Those are one of the few things that are still one of the few consistent things that's still happening within every sport. It's not really more so that team pride like it used to be. With it's a various factors with basketball, free agency, team loyalty, the rapport between organizations and players or whatever. But yeah, where was I going with that? Oh, you mentioned, what did you just mention? I'm sorry. I really
Like
going somewhere
like
with that.
refs favoring the home teams because
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, that 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 should exist, and I want to see more stuff like more stuff like that. I wish there were more referees for individual teams. That would be pretty dope. Uh, and then with the player continuity, team continuity, players staying together long, like that's something I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, Reg. I would like to see more continuity and more teams. The reason why, one of the biggest reasons why I'm a Spurs fan is because of the longevity of Timmy, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili to be able to keep that core together and have that continuity and always build around them. I mean, it it's those days are probably gone, but I wish they would pop up a little bit more. And I also think it's just part of sports naturally that if you're at home, the referee's probably going to give you a little bit of leeway. I almost think it's human nature. I don't even think it's something that's
Yeah,
done on
right,
purpose.
right.
So I think it's healthy for the game.
yeah, we do need some see some more continuity in the league because the like just forming super teams to form them, it don't. because it can't work like that. Like when the Heat did it, they were able. All the guys took pay cuts to make it happen. When the Warriors did it, you obviously had to establish stars. But it's like people act like this is Kevin Durant and LeBron, the only two that made super teams. This started in the '60s when Wilt couldn't beat the Celtics, so he went to the Lakers. This has always
Hmm.
existed. At the end of the day, these guys want to win. Like we seen Dame, like he tried to do what he could in Portland, but eventually he had to get out of there, and he went to the Bucks. And I think it's a long shot, but they still have a chance at winning something, and he's in a much better
Yeah.
position now.
Yeah, super teams definitely been around forever, but there's a stark difference between the difference between those super teams and these super teams is the players are in control of these super teams. Like LeBron, the decision on the players orchestrated these teams, and back in the Bill Russell times, there was no free agency, so that championship team they just kept running it back. So
Yeah,
if that's now not to go on not to digress, but this is why I love Wilt Chamberlain as a player so much because like he was going up against the best team every other year and losing, and they called Wilt Chamberlain a loser, but he was the only guy to win a championship outside in Bill Russell's era. But that that is a great point that you just brought up. I'm sorry. What did you mention? I'm sorry. I'm kind of rambling.
uh, was it about like super teams always existing? Or
Yeah, super teams. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's the only really big difference. And outside of the Warriors peaked with the second apron. The second apron that just pretty much killed it. And I I don't necessarily like the second apron because I think me personally, I think that's an action of collectively because this is all the owners, not just one owner of a team. That was orchestrated by the owners hating on what the Warriors did, and while still possible to build a super team with the second apron, if you want to consider the Celtics a super team, I wouldn't, but it still could be done. But super teams, they're not necessarily bad, but the second apron kind of messes up the championship trajectory of every team if you got a contract that goes bad within a year or players that just not consistent. So
yeah,
I
I
this is
hate the
going to
second
affect the
apron.
league in general. Like this going to be this CBA, this second apron, this is bad for the league in general. But this is due to these super teams, these modern super teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's because like it really hurts the Nuggets. Like like the Nuggets had a really great team when they won the championship, and they just keep losing their key guys, their key role players because of the second apron. And it's hard to win without having those key guys. So I feel bad for the Nuggets because they're not a super team. You got a superstar in Jokic, then you got like all-star caliber players surrounding them, and you have a really great team, but you can't keep your role players, so the bench just keeps getting worse. But I think this season they have a shot. It just depends on who they match up with.
Yeah, yeah, I think Michael Porter Jr. mentioned this in an interview. I remember seeing it not too long ago, probably a week or so ago. He was basically mentioning he was like, "This season, this pretty much it. Like, if we don't get it done this season, we blowing it up. They blowing it up. So it has to get done. Me personally, I don't think you've seen this, but I posted it a while ago. And I don't think me personally, I don't think Jokic should stay far away from MVP in my opinion. Um, he got two. I think two of them out of his three are valid, um, and that's debatable. But I personally believe his teams are not good enough for him to win these many MVPs and only made the finals once. Last year was the biggest example of that. OKC, the youngest team to be the first seed in NBA history, had the same record as them, and that was his highest amount of wins in any MVP campaign. That was just laziness from the voters, and that was a great story. Shea Gilgis Alexander, the only 30-point per game scorer with the first seed to not win MVP. That
Yeah,
is
I
ridiculous.
I actually had Luca. I made a video about Luca being MVP last season. But Dave, I'll let you go before I
Seed
get.
to me, my opinion, the seed was too low. He was doing some historic stuff as well. 30, 34, almost 9-9 or something like that. He was
It,
the
it was
number two
it
in
was
assists, number
Luca's.
one in scoring.
Yeah, it was Luca, Shea, then Jokic for me last season. That was my three.
Yeah, it was definitely those three for sure. But I had
But that,
Shade. Wins matter in my opinion.
yeah, I see that argument.
Yeah, I see. I think Jokic is definitely a top three player, but I definitely think as far as MVPs, last year should have went to Gilgis Alexander. I think the league's gonna try to make up for it this year and hand it to him because this year I think it's undeniably SGA. But I think he should technically be going on his second MVP, but Luca did have a hell of a case last year too. But I do think it helps your case more when you're at least like a top three seed or so, in order to win that award. So I definitely think SGA got it wrapped up this year.
Yeah, SGA better win it this year. Like they the
He
first
better.
seed in the West. He putting up the same numbers, if not better than he did last season. So and they gonna keep this up. Chet just came back. I don't think he had too great of a game, but he just coming back. And they played the Raptors anyway, so he'll be fine. It's like
Yeah.
there's no reason why he shouldn't win it. Like the scoring and the playmaking it continues to improve. So we definitely gonna see SGA with an MVP. And if he doesn't win it, that's just a robbery. And it's gonna be based off of the advanced stats with Jokic and stuff. Because that's probably where they try to get it to him at. But I hope they don't.
And that's a lazy cop out in my opinion because if they're gonna do that to give it to Jokic, that just screams favoritism on advanced stats. If they're gonna quote unquote rob him and not give it to him, the only two people in my opinion that he should get robbed of MVP would be Donovan Mitchell or Jason Tatum. Donovan Mitchell got a better record than him. He's the best player on that team, the real best team in the NBA. Or
Hmm.
Jason Tatum, who's the best player in the world, in my opinion, best player on the championship team, and they're the second seed in the East. So if it's not those two, it has to be Shea.
I'm glad you brought up both of those guys and both of those teams. Because number one, I hate, even though I'm a Lakers fan, I hate the discourse about Tatum. Like I don't know why we act like this guy isn't amazing at what he does. Like he's not an elite two-way player. Like Jason Tatum was the best player in the finals last year. He's Jalen Brown shouldn't have got Finals MVP. Then people keep acting like, oh, the Cavs is just sustainable. Is it not? They're shooting the best 3-point percentage in the league and don't even have the most frequency. They're shooting less than the Boston Celtics. And then everybody's having a
Pretty
good
wild.
year.
I didn't even know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was, or it could have changed, but they've been leading the NBA in efficiency, and they're shooting less than the Celtics, who get up 53s a game, which
Yeah,
is unwatchable. But that's it.
yeah,
They know how to win. Know how to
yeah.
win, so I can't take it away from them. But the Cavs, like they're a contending team, and they can get far in the playoffs.
One
Yeah,
thing about
The Cavs could win it all this year. I mean, they are a scary team. I wouldn't go as far as to say they're the favorites if they went into Boston, but
yeah,
it will be a dogfight 7 game series, and I do think Donovan Mitchell is playing like an MVP caliber player. I am a little. This is small. I don't think it's going to impact their team, but I am a little surprised they traded Karis LeVert. He was balling. Uh, but I think DeAndre Hunter will be a good young defender that they needed on the wing.
they
So
traded Karis LeVert.
Yeah,
yeah,
they have to give up Levert to get DeAndre Hunter.
Gee,
I'm a
okay,
little surprised
that's
about
not
that.
bad though. I don't.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Nah, nah,
Yeah, I like that trade for them, but I don't know what the Hawks are doing. Trey Young got
yeah.
nobody.
I don't know what
I
they're
don't
doing.
know what they're doing. Did you just? So I'm a Clippers fan. I'm a Clipper and Suns fan. I've been a Suns fan back to Steve Nash, and I'm really a Suns fan. Really, in modern times, since they've drafted Devin Booker, I've been a Clippers fan since Lob City. I love Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard from the Spurs, who I'm a Tim Duncan fan. That dates back to me being a kid. So, um, the Clippers just traded. They traded a lot of stars as well, and one of those players. I mean, one of those players was Bones Highland, a nice little nice point guard coming off the bench. They waived him on the Hawks. The Hawks waived him, and that's pretty surprising to me because, like you just said, I don't know really what they're doing. I mean, they really haven't made any big pickups, and do they have a backup point guard? I know they just traded Bogdanovich to the Clippers, so and
I'm
I
See, I don't
think
even know. Like Trey Young, my favorite player. That's what the only reason I keep up with the Hawks. But he out here playing with Zachary Ricochet, and this team's supposed to do anything. I don't
yeah.
know why they released Bones because like
Now
he
Bones,
microwave
he's not
score. Like
necessarily a great passer. I get it because what they're looking for, what the NBA is looking for in a point guard, but you need creativity. You can't have everybody doing the same thing. Bones Highland can
this,
play at the NBA level.
this is why we need an expansion. We need two more teams because like stuff like this. Because it's only I know it's only a certain amount of players you can keep. Now I wouldn't release Bones Highland, but you will have a lot of guards probably. But the thing is, we need expansion because it's like it's some guys that are getting released. That's like T.J. Warren just had 47 in the G League game, and T.J. Warren, he's not gonna
That's
be what he
nice.
was in the bubble, but he can still hoop. He's
Yeah,
still better than the average person.
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, Also that reminds me of Victor Oladipo. That was one of my favorite players growing up, and he missed out on a big contract due to an injury, and he really wasn't the same since. And I don't think he's in the league now, but I think he can still play too. I haven't seen him, of course, but yeah, that just reminds me of him. Like Victor Oladipo, he came into the league a big prospect, and then he was under Russell Westbrook in OKC. Then he of course blossomed on the Pacers. But it was sad to see his career go out like that. And also, now while we're mentioning people getting waived, uh, that was an unjust wave in my opinion. This wave, I want you guys' opinion on it before I give mine. Ben Simmons also got waived yesterday by the Brooklyn Nets. What do you guys think about that?
But we was gonna get into the Nets later because there's a lot of
Okay.
things I want. There's a lot of things I want to say about the Brooklyn Nets, and I think Ben Simmons is either going to a contender. I could see him going to the OKC or the Clippers, even Cleveland if they make that work. Because like he can still play defense at a pretty high level. It's not gonna be like the all defense that he was in the past. But I don't know why the Nets didn't sell at the deadline. Like Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, and Ben Simmons, they all should have been traded. And they just gonna lose them for nothing essentially.
Real talk.
You should have got rid of all them guys. Like
Yeah.
they're over under on wins in the offseason was 19.5. They have 18 right now. Why do the Nets have 18 wins?
Oh yeah, right.
You
True.
could have got something nice in return for Cam Johnson for sure. And Nicholas Claxton.
Yeah,
And I
very true.
thought OKC was getting Cam Johnson for sure. Like I seen that is like if any team was gonna get him, I seen OKC getting him because you wouldn't have to give up a lot to get Cam Johnson. You probably
I
would
would
have
have
had to give
liked
up.
I would have liked that for Milwaukee maybe, but I like the
Uh,
Kuzma pickup too.
Yeah, I do like that Kuzma pickup. I think he's definitely gonna be better on a winning team. I definitely think him being on the Wizards was affecting his play, but he can probably be this similar to the Kuzma he was on the bubble team with the Lakers.
yeah. Now the internet funny because they said Chris Middleton better with one ligament than Kyle Kuzma right now. That's hilarious.
Right? Nah. It was
I
time.
don't know about
They're
that.
going young.
Yeah, that's just because he playing Washington. Nobody watching the Wizards games.
Yeah.
Kyle Kuzma has proved he could be a good third, fourth option on a championship team, and I think the Bucks have a puncher's chance. I wouldn't say that they're the favorites by any mean, but I think you got Giannis, you got still Dame who could drop buckets, and now Kuzma who's gonna get his most wide open looks playing with Giannis. I think they're a little bit more scary now.
Very true.
But let's get into Ben Simmons to sign with the Clippers after clearing waivers. Just got a notification from ESPN.
Oh,
Is that
wow.
official?
Yeah,
Oh,
I just checked
now,
my phone. Yeah,
now,
Ben Simmons
okay.
going to the Clippers. I
Oh,
just said it a few seconds ago.
Well,
that's
okay.
not a
Wow.
that's not a bad look. That's not a bad
Me
look at
being a
all.
Clippers
You know,
fan and my reservations, I'm glad this is all coming about now because I can get my reservations on Ben Simmons. I thought the reasoning for him being waived was intentional. I thought they were just getting rid of him because of all the drama he caused over the years. I think Ben Simmons is one of the biggest. He is another person that's effectively going to really damage other players' that's earning potential in the future with this contract that he just played out. Him going to a contender, my Clippers specifically. I don't. We don't need it. We got James Harden. We got.
Wait,
I mean,
Red,
do we need?
what's y'all
What?
starting lineup right now?
Uh, uh, we did just lose a lot of our defensive identity. We just traded Kevin Porter
All
Jr.
right.
We traded Mo Bamba, who could we still could have did something with. I guess we can use him for defense, but playmaking, I guess extra playmaking, I guess.
I
But
think it can.
Ben Simmons is damaged goods in my opinion. He shouldn't be in the NBA after this contract, in my opinion.
I think that it makes sense if he comes off the bench. So you got James Harden, Kawhi, Zubac, and who Norman Powell starting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
who's the four?
maybe not. Is
isn't
it?
it Derek Jones
Yep,
Jr.?
Derek Jones
Yeah,
Jr.
there.
Yeah,
So you keep that same starting lineup, and you bring Ben Simmons off the bench as a 6 man because he can still play good defense and he can play make. And then I don't think he'll get in the way of anybody if he's coming off the bench. But I feel like if you start him, that'll probably hurt the team. But you bring him off the bench, I like the move for the Clippers.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a bench player at this point in his career for sure.
yeah. Yeah. I hope so. If he does come to the Clippers, I hope that's how it turns out. Any contender though, picking up Ben Simmons, that's a big risk.
Yeah, I feel like at this point in his career, he got to be like a 6 man type. He can't be starting for a team that's contending. So we'll see how it play out. But oh yeah, before that happened, I was gonna say I was gonna get into the WNBA mock draft that I'm doing, and then we could talk some wrestling stuff after that.
Cool.
Do y'all watch any women's basketball, or y'all just stick to the NBA?
I kind of stick to the NBA.
Yeah, I ain't
Uh,
gonna front. I'm just warm getting into the WNBA, but so I'm not as knowledgeable yet.
okay, okay. But for the mock draft, it's been the WNBA had a crazy free agency too, and then nobody talked about it because Luka got traded out of nowhere on a random Saturday.
Yep.
But the Dallas Wings got the first pick. It's pretty obvious that Paige is going first from UConn, averaging 19, 4 and 4. Like people forget that she was the original white girl that everybody was blazing for college basketball until she had the injury. Then that's when Caitlin Clark took off. Like Paige is still, she's still elite. Like they lost to Tennessee the other night, I think, but she was still impactful. Like even though she wasn't scoring, she was still able to play make and keep the game close. The Seattle Storm just got the second pick in the trade they did, and I was assuming they had. It seems like they in for a reset, but I think they'll take Anissa Murrow from LSU. She averaging 18 points and 14 rebounds per game. Like that's impressive. You don't see many people averaging a double double, averaging 18 and 14.
Yeah, that's pretty dope on any level for real.
Yeah. The third pick, the Chicago Sky. They looking to improve. I think they team gonna be able to make the playoffs. And then I think they'll take Olivia Miles from Notre Dame. She averaging 16, 6 and 6 and shoot 48% from the three. And they need some long range shooting. So that's gonna be and then she'll probably come off the bench too, get into that lineup. She'll probably start by the end of the year. But that'd be a great pickup for them to get in the draft. The Washington Mystics with the fourth pick. I got them taking Tanaya Watson from Florida State. She averaging 26 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2.7 steals per game. I mean, that's impressive, averaging almost 3 steals per game in college. So she'll come in, instantly make them a better team. At the fifth pick, the Golden State Valkyries, they're an expansion team, so really anything can help them in the draft. And I had them go with Georgia Amore from Kentucky, averaging 19 points and almost 8 assists per game. The Mystics also got the sixth pick in the first round. I had them taking Fly J. Johnson from LSU, averaging 20 points per game, 6 rebounds. She's been really good throughout her time in college. She was great on that team they had last year. Still been solid this year, so I think she's going first round. At 7 for the New York Liberty, got them taking Kiki Efron, 17 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, shooting 52% from the field. Feel like that definitely helped them improve after the final run that they just went on. The Connecticut Sun, they got this pick in a trade with the Fever at number 8. Had them taking Izzy Higginbottom from Arkansas, averaging 24 points per game and shooting 39% from the three. So get some great long range shooting. For the Los Angeles Sparks, I had them taking Dominique Malonga of France. Apparently, France, they got all the players because they got a few top players in this draft, just like they did with Wemby and Alex Sarr the last few years. They just got all the basketball stars. But she averaged 16 points and 9 rebounds per game. So she definitely going to be a first round pick. She could go earlier than what I'm expecting at this point, and things can change by next month. But yeah, she's really solid.
Wait, Ed, not to interrupt you, but is Juju Watkins getting drafted this
she
season?
Can't. She's a sophomore.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Yeah, you good. But she's definitely going to be the top star for next year. Like, she's already set. Yeah. Like, I wish she could have went this year, but she got to wait another year. For the Chicago Sky at number 10, I got them taking Cheyenne Sellers from Maryland. She's only averaging 13 points, but she's shooting 44% from three. So it could be a gamble because she hasn't shot this good from three in college. Like, it's been around. She a senior, so it fluctuated from like the 30% range, and she's been on fire this season. So it could be a gamble, but you could also get her in the second round. But if I'm the Chicago Sky, I take a chance on it because it won't hurt the team too much, especially with you having another pick right before that. So one pick flops, you got another one to rely on. At 11, the Minnesota Lynx, I would go with Sedona Prince from TCU, averaging 18 points and 9 rebounds per game, shooting 61% from the field. Then for the Dallas Wings, I'll go with Lauren Betts from UCLA, averaging 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists, shooting 64% from the field. And then that's just the first round. Yeah, I usually just do the first round for the mock drafts. Then there's 3 teams that don't have a first round pick: the Indiana Fever, the Atlanta Dream, and the Las Vegas Aces. Apparently, the Aces got caught in an investigation last year, so they lost their first round pick. So sucks for them. I forgot what it was about, but it's like just trying to figure out 9 through 12 was tough because there's still like 8 other players that's going. You could argue going in the first round, but that covers it for my mock draft. And I usually do a mock draft the second week of every month, so that'll give me some time to watch some more, evaluate some other players. But we can get into some wrestling stuff now. Dave, did you catch AEW this week?
Yeah, I did peep. I did peep the highlights of it a little bit. I saw that fucking Ricochet versus Swerve. I thought that was a really solid main event. I thought Ricochet, it made sense to have him take that win. It seems like they're all in with the heel character they're going for, even though I think he still comes off as a little bit of a dork. But I like that they're trying with him. It's something new. You can argue that Swerve has been losing a little too often. Like he kind of fell off a little bit, but I thought it was a hell of a main event, and I thought it did make sense for Ricochet to win that match.
The way I'm looking at Swerve right now, it's kind of like that stretch that Seth Rollins went to before he won the World Heavyweight Championship, where he was losing a lot, but he wasn't affected by it because we know how great he is. So, like, that's what I see with Swerve. And since it happened on regular TV, I'm not too mad about it. It would have been at another pay-per-view, would have been a problem. But he can take a loss on TV and still be fine because he really got protected with the way he lost because he did, like, the fake accidental low blow or whatever they want to call that when he had. So it was a good way to get Ricochet to win. So At first, I was mad at it because I'm a Swerve fan, but then I had to think about it, let it sink in. Not too mad at it, and they'll probably continue this. I don't know how much longer, but you could definitely build something with Swerve and Ricochet.
Yeah, and I did like the segment between the Guns and the Hurt Syndicate. You got some fresh opponents you're building up for Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. I think they've been doing real well with the presentation of the Hurt Syndicate, but I can't help but feel that I don't know. I like them as tag team champions, but I can't help but feel like you have talents like Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. They should be dominating in singles competition, but I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, but I think they're doing this since they ain't been there too long. Get them a
Yeah,
like they already established, but just give them something to do for now. Then eventually they'll go after some singles gold. They don't have to go on like this like long 9 month tag team title reign. Like I could see them winning the other, or they could be the tag team champions and win other championships. But
yeah.
Cedric Alexander may be coming there as well soon.
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna go over there.
Yeah, for
yeah, it
sure.
was a lot of releases last night. I was like, okay, that's
Yeah,
right during the show.
and that's a good thing too. WWE keeps people for way too long these days. Like I remember guys like by the tens would get released like by spring season back in the day. Like a Giovanni Vinci. Well, he after his incidents backstage, there's pretty much no place for him anyway. So the Authors of Pain, they re-signed him to do nothing with those guys. Sonya Deville, that's pretty surprising. Alongside with the recent release
Real
of
talk.
with Baron Corbin, Baron Corbin and Sonya Deville, those are surprising because those are some of the people that can really garner genuine reactions of the audience, and they let them go. Who else did they let go? They let go another women's wrestler. Um,
They got, I don't know, they got rid of Isla Dawn. I don't know if they
yeah,
got rid of a tag team partner too, or if it was
no,
just
it was
I
just
think
it was
it was
Blair Davenport.
Blair Davenport. That's who it was. Yeah.
that one. That
They
one threw me
they
off
they
because they
brought her up.
said it was like they did it. They did the stuff with Naomi, like this, and it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. But it looked like they was gonna do something solid with her, doing the
Yeah,
stuff with Naomi. And then you get this report that SmackDown is gonna be 3 hours, so people like Blair Davenport can get more time, and we haven't seen her all year, and now she's just released.
was she
I
in the
don't know.
Rumble? I don't remember her being in the Rumble.
Nah, she wasn't in there. She wasn't in that either.
Wow. Yeah, they just brought her up from NXT for no reason.
And that just sucks because I feel bad for her as a person. Like, I feel bad for Arden. Like, he just get released out of nowhere because, like, and then get called up to do nothing. Like, you better off staying in NXT. That's why I don't want Obafemi to get called up yet because I know people have talked about it. But
Yeah,
what are they really going to treat him right if he do gets called up this early?
call
It
ups.
might be a little too early.
Yeah. And like, if they bring up Trick, they're just going to put him back with Carmelo. Just going to be a tag team again.
Yeah.
That's true.
We may have to do a video on this. Like, cause we may honestly have to think about this outside of like real talk. Maybe outside of Kevin Owens, the Shield. Um, Kevin Owens, the Shield.
Sami Zayn.
No, I wasn't
No.
going. Outside of the Shield and Kevin Owens, I gotta probably think of some other ones. I could count on one hand, maybe two, like real successful NXT call ups. There hasn't been
Bray
many.
Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt, there we go. Bray
Yeah.
Wyatt, The Shield, Bray Wyatt, Kevin Owens. Those are probably there's very few real successes from NXT.
Yeah.
Um,
Red, I got a question. Is I know you said you don't watch AEW. Is it just like you're not interested in it, or you just
yeah, well, well. Initially, I it really wasn't a I'm a WWE lifer type of thing. It just really initially, honestly, it just came off as like a bad WCW impression, a worse in WCW impression. What I first, that was my first impression. Then I just never watched it. I just never got into it. Like it just got, not to sound like I'm caping for WWE. It just doesn't look as professional as WWE. Then
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of those guys before. Then like then with Tony Khan at the head, and now I'm watching clips. I follow their social media. I'm kind of more in tune to AEW more so now than ever, but I still haven't watched a single AEW episode. I think it's just all of that. I think they got good concepts. I do think they got good concepts from what I see, but the execution is just bad. Uh, I'm kind of starting to turn over a new leaf with them, but I was all that still kind of lingers for real. I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm
Okay.
yeah.
I was just wondering because it'd be like a lot of people online, like they just talk about it. I know I can just ask you that, get a straight answer. Because like I
Yeah.
don't know, like it's so, and we'll get into some of that stuff too
And
with
then
WWE.
AEW start in 2019?
Yeah, yeah,
And that's another reason I stopped as soon as the pandemic started, like Royal Rumble 2022. I didn't start watching wrestling again until SmackDown debuted on Fox. So that was just a bad time. So I wasn't watching wrestling at all. So
okay, I see.
yeah, it was all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And y'all see, I got this scarf on because MJF is one of my favorite wrestlers. I got this at an AEW show last year,
That's
but
fire.
I hate what they're doing with MJF right now. He's feuding with all these people that should be in a retirement home. Like nobody cares what Dustin Rhodes has to say. Nobody cares about Jeff Jarrett being in the world title picture. Like they need to go home. Like Dustin Rhodes needs to be in Ring of Honor. I don't even know why he got championships around his waist, but that's where he needs to be at. Like this is so stupid that you have MJF, who is one of your top stars, and he's in this nonsensical feud with Jeff Jarrett, and he got a match with Dustin Rhodes this upcoming week. That don't make any sense.
Do
Yeah,
you
I
th-
agree with that.
do you think this is now again? I'm still on the outside looking in, but I do watch other content creators who watch AEW. Um, I do kind of somewhat. I don't know every wins losses, how many titles he's had, or anything like that. I do know some storylines, but I do know basically who MJF is and what his motivations are. Um, do you think this is possibly a? He's just. Do you think MJF is possibly stagnant, and this is just uh a way of him to be a like legend killer type gimmick?
I was thinking that. I don't like the fact that he's suddenly after all these veterans, but it does feel like they're trying to give him his own legend killer.
I think MJF. I remember the buzz. I remember the buzz around MJF, around AEW. I do remember that for sure. Uh, and I have seen some of his promos. I have seen some of his promos on IG and social media as well. He is kind of, now. I will say this. I can say this because I've seen a decent amount of his promos. I don't like his promo style. He kind of like, he is a cheap heat machine, in my opinion. Like his heel work is, I think he's very one dimensional. Like Dirty Dom compared to MJF, it's night and day. Like MJF, I think he's set in AEW. I think he's an AEW life.
I
I
fuck with I fuck with MJF, but I do think recently he has become more one dimensional. I mean, he definitely has good promo skills, but I feel like he goes out of his way to say things like, "Oh, Dustin, you're in living in your brother Cody's shadow." Like he has to mention WWE because he knows it's gonna get that cheap response. Like he does rely on that a lot, but at the same time, I understand it because AEW wants to take the approach that we're not acting like other wrestling companies don't exist, and I get it, but I think it would help him to Just focus on AEW and focus on their talent.
Yeah, I see that point because MJF when I remember the episode where he came back and had the tattoo on his ankle, the AEW tattoo. My first thought is that that's not gonna age well because I definitely don't see him staying after getting a tattoo on his ankle of the company. I just feel like he's not staying. Like I just feel like some type of karma gonna happen with that. And then the
Yeah,
promo is basically him saying that he's the wolf of AEW or whatever. So it's like he do mention WWE a lot, but then again, are these wrestlers even listening to Tony Khan? Or because I'm not convinced. Like all these wrestlers mention WWE in some way, and MJF probably does the most. But AEW mentions WWE a lot, and they make it very direct. Like they let, like it's not like no cheap shot. Like they let you know, like yeah, we're talking about WWE.
that's another thing that kind of turned me off. Like, I mean, that's another thing that kind of turned me off. Like, if you really trying to make yourself a difference, an alternative, you wouldn't mention them. You know, even
Yeah,
if you still signing some of their recycled talent, but mention it. That's just like that's like a rapper. That's like a rapper. Yeah, I can use this example. This is like a rapper just like harping on something. Well, I'm not gonna use that. It gets too much. It gets too much at times.
and then like the story that they're telling, uh, with John Moxley and the Death Riders taking over the company or whatever, it was cool at first. Then you have all the ex WWE guys trying to defend AEW. Edge and FTR weren't here from the start, so it don't make sense that these are the guys that the first ones to defend AEW. Now you got Jay White into the story, and it's like so the promo they did. It was like they did a broad segment after Jay White had his interview, and he was, and then after that, Edge. I'm not calling him Cope. That's a terrible name, but he was like,
It
I want
is.
to. He was like, I want a championship. He asked John Moxley for a championship match. John Moxley just straight up told him no. Then Jay White was like, how about me and Edge against you and Claudio in Australia next week? And then they accept that. So you can accept the tag. Like that's just stupid to me. And then Grand Slam is after All Star Weekend. So that Saturday after the dunk contest and stuff go off, you're having an event at 9 o'clock at night. Half the people are going to be asleep after All Star
Facts. Well,
doing it in Australia. So I don't know why you just didn't do it at 12. Like do it at noon time. Because it's like if it's in Australia, then and then
right,
NXT got a pay per view that day too. So now
right.
you could be now you already know NXT will probably get the numbers. They got some good matches. Then you competing with All Star with the dunk contest and stuff. Nobody's staying up for that. I might because I won't have nothing to do the next day. But most people aren't staying up to watch that.
True. Yeah, this is poor planning right there.
Yeah,
Wow.
but it was
Have you noticed? Like, I also wow, it's interesting that you just brought up. So Edge and FTR, they're allies in AEW.
yeah.
Wow. Do you remember when they were who else did they team with? Didn't they team with Randy Orton in WWE for a minute?
Hold on.
Yeah, they did. They did briefly, actually. That's a good point.
Uh yeah, I think the revival like to latch on to legends.
Yeah. Even and then speaking of and then Dave, I know you have brought up the guns, them coming back. Do you think they feel a way that Jay White's teaming with FTR to help get rid of the Death Riders? Like that's kind of weird because it was like it was Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Guns. That was like they were all intertwined in the same group, and now the Guns come back and Jay White he helping FTR.
Yeah, I don't know. The I mean, I'm not mad at the Guns' return and them being in the mix, but it does feel a little random. I mean, you could have potentially slid over somebody that's been a little bit more relevant, but I think ultimately it's probably to give Bobby Lashley and Benjamin some wins. I don't see the Guns beating them.
Yeah,
So it's just them putting them over. I'm assuming here.
yeah. It can be a fun match, and was I mean, there was a lot that happened on AEW. I think on a week to week basis, they put on really good shows, but they can suck at building stories sometimes. Like they doing this thing with Hangman and Max Caster that I just don't get. Like I get that Max Caster's trying to prove that he's the best in the world, which I hate that gimmick because it only works for CM Punk. As much, no matter what I say about CM Punk, I can't acknowledge that he's the only wrestler that really works for. Like I don't like when other wrestlers try to do that same stuff. Like that should just be CM Punk's thing. Nobody else should try to copy that. But Max Caster trying to do this best in the world gimmick, it's not going nowhere. Now it's gonna feud with Hangman, I guess, and then Hangman ran into MJF again, which I wish they'd just do MJF and Hangman, because that'd be more entertaining than what if MJF going on a legend killing thing or not. Because that's a fun feud. Like they both younger stars. I don't think Hangman is super young, but compared to Jeff Jarrett, I think
Yeah.
that it'd be a much better feud to tell with MJF and Hangman. Them both trying to get back up to the top and then each other's way, so you could tell that story.
I felt like AEW their first 2 years of existence. Hangman felt like he could have been one of the main faces of their company. I thought he used to have a lot of momentum. And I did like his feud with Swerve, but I feel like I feel like the money in him was as the baby face. But right now, I don't know. I do definitely agree with you, Ed. I think Hangman and MJF is a lot better than Jeff Jarrett and MJF, but I feel
Yeah,
like Hangman maybe doesn't have the the clout and crowd momentum as much as he could to face off with MJF.
because I think where they really messed up, it's like, and I think WWE does it sometimes too, where it's like the lines of who's the heel and who's the baby face. Like it's so weird because it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
what's his name? Oh, that turned on Swerve. Adam Cole. He turned not Swerve, turned on MJF. Adam Cole turned
yeah,
on MJF, and then MJF comes back as the heel. And obviously,
yeah,
he's a much better heel than he is a baby face, but that don't make any sense. It's like when the Rhea and Leo story, like Liv is technically the baby face with how the story was, but it's like because of how the because of the stuff they're doing now, they made Liv the heel in the situation and had her lose a 3-on-1 situation, which is still that was the interesting decision. But it's like Rhea is a book super strong, and it's like her being the baby face in the story, it didn't make a lot of sense. It's like with Swerve and MJF, like I'm not Swerve and Hangman. I'm getting names mixed up. But Hangman should have been the baby face in that technically.
I'm glad you just brought that up, Ed. That that is a slight on the wrestlers for sure because you can blame booking all you want. You got to go out there and perform. If Rhea like I'm glad you just brought that up because one of the biggest examples I have of this is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is a terrible face and a terrible heel. This is why he loves being a tweener. This is why he can't. This is why he's stuck in tweeterdom. He can't be a babyface because he's obnoxious, and they're gonna turn on him. We've seen it. And a heel, the best heel version of Rollins, I guess, was around when he first won the WWE Championship, and that was it was
yes,
it was getting good. It was getting good, but it was not good all the way. Remember that feud with Kane and John? Remember that with John Cena calling them
yeah,
when they unified the championships, United States and WWE title. Now that goes on the superstars. Like you're committing to your character. Like this, my personal opinion, I think Seth Rollins is one of the most fundamentally bad wrestlers for to be in his spot as long as he was, as far as ring psychology and promos. And that's one of the biggest reasons, like him not being able to be a good heel or face, in my opinion. And Rhea Ripley is booked too strong. She can't even like you can't show any type of vulnerability. It's just like unrealistic.
And I hate like when a wrestler is booked super strong because it's like obviously you don't want your champions or like your top stars taking a lot of pins. Obviously, but they can take a few pins. Like if we done seen Bianca Belair eat pins before, and she's been fine. So it's like if Bianca Belair can take pins, and I'd say she's a better wrestler than Rhea, then Rhea Ripley can definitely take a few pins here and there. Like, I don't think like they want these wrestlers going like even though Roman Reigns didn't get pinned till the end of his run, as young as he was, he still got I think he got pinned more than Rhea Ripley did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. After Triple H got since Rhea Ripley's been on the main roster, she's probably got a better win-loss record than Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and even Cody Rhodes, he done took some pins and he's been fine. Like you need to take pins so you can build stories. Because if you just dominating, then you got the situation where in the game the wrestlers start complaining because they losing too much.
Right,
That's a
and
fact. That's a
with that
fact.
being said, at this point, Rhea booked so strong, I don't want to see Charlotte face nobody else but Rhea at this point.
If they do a
Like,
trilogy, I wouldn't mind them doing a trilogy. Like that'd be
yeah,
cool.
Rhea,
I
she had
think I
to
think
lose
I
to
might like
Charlotte.
Charlotte. I think I might Charlotte and Rhea a little more than Charlotte Tiffany.
Charlotte, that
Maybe. Yeah.
promo last night was absolutely terrible. Like
Oh yeah.
in
Oh,
my
I
they
hated that
like
promo.
they literally stopped talking for somebody else to come out. Like that's how much it was like they got all their cues off, no improvisation. Then they waited for somebody else to come out.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that as soon as Alexa Bliss came out there, I was like, yes, we're getting the match. Because nothing that these
Facts.
three said did anything. Like you had obviously Charlotte and I
Charlotte
hate,
said Charlotte was acting like she was the champion. Like
but
she said,
Charlotte,
you gotta beg me for a match. You're challenging the champion.
but I'm not going. But she is a 14-time champion, so she can. But it did sound like Tiffany was begging her to fight her for the championship. Like they all did a bad job. Then Nia Jax came out there and she was like, "I want my championship now." After you just lost to Rhea, you challenged
Yeah,
Rhea before you
you
went
want
back to
your
Tiffany,
championship a month later after losing it?
and then she gonna lose next week. And I really just forgot what I was gonna say. That's how bad the segment was.
Yeah, that was bad,
But
man.
yeah, once Alexa Bliss came out there, we got a solid match. She beat Candice LeRae. Alexa Bliss to the Elimination Chamber. Yes,
y'all think there's any chance Alexa Bliss wins that chamber? Because I listen, she got probably the biggest reaction of the night at Royal Rumble. I would like to
yes.
see her add some freshness to the women's division. I wouldn't hate Alexa versus Rhea Ripley, but
See
potentially.
Is
if
she on
Charlotte,
SmackDown or Raw though?
yeah, she on SmackDown.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
but you know it's a soft brand split. They
yeah.
could pick either one.
But
But if
they may
Charlotte
do
picks,
some. Go
I
ahead,
was
go
gonna
ahead.
say if Charlotte pick Rhea, then I could definitely see Alexa Bliss winning. Because I'm looking at the other women in the chamber, and this is way too predictable. Because Bailey and Roxanne both have qualifying matches next week. They're both gonna win, and they're both gonna lose because they're too focused on each other and have a match at WrestleMania. And thank you for making it so obvious. Or they
I
could both.
They may do some kind of cinematic match between Alexa Bliss and the Wyatt Six and
They could
Braun
do that.
Strowman at WrestleMania.
But the thing is, you also have Bianca in the Elimination Chamber. She's probably not winning since she still has the tag titles. Liv, I don't see
Who's gonna be
because
the sixth? Who's gonna be the sixth person?
I'm trying. Right now it's Liv, Alexa, and Bianca. Then next week you got Naomi versus Chelsea Green on SmackDown. You got Roxanne Perez versus Raquel, and then you got Bailey versus Lara Valkyria, which obviously now gonna make Lara lose so they can set up the IC title match.
True. Yeah, who's gonna win this match? I don't.
So
Alexa.
it might be we looking at Alexa Bliss winning this. So
Bianca Bel Bianca Belair has a chance.
I'm
I would
glad
say.
she does, but I don't.
they have
It's
done
just that her having the tag team championships and the Jade story. I just don't know because
this.
she is gonna be the best wrestler in there, but it's like on the story is I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
This this women's elimination chamber match has made me have an epiphany how bad they have built Tiffany Stratton as a champion. Like her cash in was so poorly done. Like I don't think she should have turned face just because Nia Jax wronged her. And what was that just her only say of being a face? She was just still doing heel stuff up to the cash in. And she don't really got the crowd behind her like that. And what is her gimmick? Tiffy time, like you can't be a baby face Barbie. Like
I'm glad you brought because look at
I
this.
I'm not sold on Tiffany Stratton as a champ. I don't like whoever win the match gonna be cool, but what's gonna be the story?
But check this out. You notice when Charlotte approached when she approached Rhea, even when she approached Julia on NXT, that she got booed on Raw and NXT. When she went to SmackDown, they loved her instead of Tiffany. They were cheering for Charlotte on SmackDown last night over Tiffany. So it's like it's hard to build because if you do Charlotte versus Tiffany, like I think the match would be cool, but it's hard trying to because I don't like Charlotte as a babyface. I don't think she's that great. Like she's a
Me,
natural heel, just like her dad.
yeah,
But it's like if she goes into a program with Tiffany, Charlotte has to be the babyface because Tiffany still, even, she's still a heel. All the things that she did, even to get to
right,
that, I mean, just
exactly. Uh,
uh,
yeah, I
it's
agree with that.
tough.
The matches, yeah, they got to
Oh, I
get
remember
better.
what I was gonna say. Charlotte, stay away from NXT. We seen this story once. We don't need it again. Like it
Yeah,
don't make any sense. Like we seen this with Rhea in 2020, and it was
they
stupid then.
gotta, they have to stop.
Like
This
you
is
didn't
what they,
see Jay Uso talk to Obafemi.
yeah, they
That's
gotta
stupid.
stop doing that. They gotta stop having main roster talent, like literally cock tease us and act like they're gonna get some kind of they want some kind of NX. They don't want that. That's the same thing
Because
Yeah.
like
before
Undertaker.
the
Undertaker challenging Bobby Lashley for the ECW championship. It's not gonna happen. Please
Yeah,
stop doing it.
that's a fact though.
somebody
That's a
had Money in the Bank, and I forgot who it was, but they teased cash in on NXT. Like you
That's a
won.
demotion. Like, please stop. Like,
Like what?
Yeah, they need to stop. Like 1 minute they want to try to act like NXT's a big prize to win, and then 1 minute we all know it's a demotion. I mean, no disrespect to NXT, but you're gonna want to win the WWE title or the World Heavyweight
No matter
title.
how they look
That's
at it,
where that's where the bigger audience is getting eyeballs. Like,
yeah,
come on,
NXT is still developmental at the end of the day. It's the
it
reason
is.
why certain people stay in there for a certain amount of years. Like it's not a third brand. This is your developmental roster.
right. Unlike ECW, right? And well, ECW was practically developmental at that time as well, too. So
Okay.
yeah.
But let's since we are on WWE, let's talk about the Royal Rumble. I'll go first. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I I think it was pretty average. I mean, I enjoyed the Rumble matches. The tag team match, I didn't enjoy at all. I really didn't like it. I like the Three Profits return, but they got to do something with it. The
Yeah.
Cody and Kevin match, it made me mad because what purpose does Sami Zayn serve? If he wasn't going to help, he shouldn't have showed up at all because it would have been a better story. Like, and obviously Kevin Owens was going to attack him for not helping, but you could have had Sammy turn heel. Like, I would have loved a story with Sammy and Kevin for the World Championship. Like, we haven't gotten that, and I think it would have been cool. And you could have had Cody Rhodes win it back. Like, I could see Cody Rhodes is going to be a multiple time champion, and then but the women's Royal Rumble, Nikki Bella at 30, that actually ruined my day. There's no way you brought back. You could have put Alexa Bliss. You should have had Alexa Bliss at 30, and then I seen the report that there was like Alexa Bliss took Shotzi's spot. You had Nikki Bella in the Royal Rumble. Why not give 30 to Alexa Bliss and let Shotzi keep her spot?
Shotzi, I like Shotzi.
And then one more
enjoy it.
thing, Jay winning, it was a surprise, but I like it. And I know like people and like his promo on Raw, it was really good, real emotional. Like I'm happy for Jay Uso. I'm glad he won, and I'm glad that it was a surprise because that's what he want in wrestling. Want surprises, and it's not like it's some random guy. He has momentum. He has everything. And then John Cena, like he still has a route to get the championship, and like, but I like that it came down to those two and John Cena. He put him over at the end of the match. It's like John Cena, they're either doing two things. He's either gonna win WrestleMania or the story is gonna be he keeps getting close each time, but he's just not able to get it since he hasn't won it so long. And then once it gets down to like November, December, that's where he finally gets the title, holds it for a month, then he relinquishes the title after that.
I agree. I'm going to piggyback. I'm gonna give it the Royal Rumble. I pretty much agree with most of everything you said. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give it a six. I'm gonna give it a six also. This honestly could have been a 3-match show. In reality, I don't know why Triple H put that 2 out of 3 falls work rate tag team match in the middle of the show. I honestly, from what I did, I was watching it. It had some cool spots. It did have some cool spots. I did like that first pinfall that DIY had. but the fans didn't care. Nobody like
Yeah.
that was a 2 out of 3 falls match after having a Royal Rumble. Like, and the Motor City Machine Guns, they not translating to WWE. It was a cool match, but nobody cared. Like, even when the big spots, you had nobody reacting. The WWE Championship match, I completely agree. Kevin Owens should have won, but they're so stuck on this is WWE. Like, a championship reign does not have to be long. If Kevin Owens won this could set him up for the rest of the year. The WWE Championship, even if he had it for 2 or 3 weeks, that could have set him up for the rest of the year. And with Sami, I said this in the group chat. Sami Zayn is a cuck, man. At this point, I don't like the character of Sami Zayn at all. At all. Like, he came out there and did absolutely nothing. Saw his best friend get almost unalived by Cody Rhodes. And then after the match, as soon as Cody Rhodes grabbed those titles, the crowd went dead. The crowd went dead because, like, it was over. The story is over. This just Cody goes to a next story. And when Cody was talking smack to both of them after he won, he's like, "Oh, look at your friend," and he's just helping him. Cody's just a cuck. Sami's a cuck. He just sat there and watched his best friend get beat by Cody and did nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
let me say this. It's not about that match, but shout out to Speed because I'm not taking that type of bump.
Real talk.
I'm just
Yeah,
doing
real
shout
talk.
out to
like
Speed.
no matter what people want to say about him and streamers being in wrestling, I'm not taking that type of bump. So shout
He
out to him.
spared the hell out
Speed,
of him.
he's
Yeah,
getting
who
thrown up to
told
the table.
they gotta WWE gotta watch out. WWE gotta watch out with including these celebrities into their matches because who told Braun Breaker to spear him like that? What if he injured him? And then the insult to injury, Otis throwing him over on the announce table like that. Like, and he clearly does not have he has an athletic build for his age, but he's not a wrestler.
But he was pretty messed up after
He could
that.
have broke. He literally could have broke. He could have injured him. Like, seriously.
Yeah, but I would imagine he had knowledge of this before. Like I know they played it off as a
Yeah,
surprise.
pretty much. I'm sure he
Yeah,
agreed to do it,
yeah.
but still,
And
I'm
they
pretty
probably
sure.
did.
What if
They
this
probably
happened?
did their best to protect him. But that's
Yeah,
like people. That's when it comes to like the difference between it being fake and it being scripted. That's why we say it's scripted and not fake. Because nobody wants to take that type of bump. I'm not agreeing to that.
yeah, facts.
Yeah,
Like,
that was
I
it
know
looked
that's
good.
into Speed's personality, but what if somebody else gets in the ring and they don't? Well, they expect something, but they didn't expect it like that, and then they take it the wrong way. So
Yeah,
WWE better watch out with that.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, also the Rumble, the men's Rumble, well, the women's, as far as the women's Rumble, I personally think that was the greatest women's Rumble so far for what we see.
I agree with that. I
That's
agree
my
Yeah,
with
personal
that.
opinion. I thought that it wasn't too many surprises. I think Nia Jax did her thing. Uh, Nia Jax, I like the Trish Stratus return. I did
Yeah,
like
that was
that.
fly.
Roxanne did her thing. Roxanne did her thing.
yeah,
They teased the ultimate match that's gonna happen between Julia and Stephanie at Stand and Deliver, I believe. They teased that. Um, One thing that I didn't like about the women's rumble, I hated this. This spot was so dumb. Like, remember when Nia eliminated almost like 6 people at once?
I
That
was I was
that
confused.
spot was so stupid. Like, people were
I was
so
yeah,
they were fighting on the apron. Then 2 people were fighting on the apron. They're over the top rope. So whoever falls, they're eliminated. The other women come over, reach over the top rope to try to eliminate them while they put themselves, while also putting themselves in the brink of getting eliminated. Then they all fall once Nia pushes them.
yeah. I was so confused. Like what that spot was really.
That made no
It
sense
didn't
at
make.
all.
And then they didn't even. And then I didn't see it until TJ sent it to the chat. But when Bianca, Naomi, Raquel, and Leah when they was like brawling, why didn't we see that? Like we saw the stuff in the men's with Seth and them. So why didn't they show that angle when that was happening? It don't make any sense.
Yeah, it probably wasn't. I mean, they probably were staying in character, but it really wasn't part of the story. Which I do like that. I like that. I like that. But it probably really wasn't that part of the story. That's probably why they didn't shoot that. But as far as the men's rumble was cool. The men's rumble was cool. It was cool. I liked it. I liked it. It was a good rumble. Um, I like how they started fast. I do like how they included like all the luchadors and all the high flyers in the beginning, and then like one thing, one criticism I have of this rumble. While I did like it, but they can't do this again. When you have so many, because I've seen rumbles with a lot of stars in it. The entrance was so predictable. Like when John Cena and CM Punk came out there, they literally wasted time, didn't make no contact till the next person came out there. I think it was Roman Reigns. Then they made no contact until the next person came out there, and it was Seth Rollins. That's not good. That's lazy booking. That's lazy booking for a star-studded Rumble. I've seen the 2010 Royal Rumble with stars in it. I've seen the 2001 Royal Rumble with stars in it. You can do something more creative than that. But that's probably a one criticism that I had about it. What else? There really wasn't a lot of people that were outside of Roman, of course, Roman. It wasn't a lot of people having a lot of eliminations, and for that very reason as well, due to all the stars coming right after each other, there wasn't a lot of people having a lot of eliminations, or there really wasn't an Iron Man in this Royal Rumble match for that reason either. The women's Royal Rumble had that in Nia Jackson, Roxanne Perez, and all those girls. So, in
But
that respect,
Penta lasted what, 42 minutes?
yeah, Penta did, but did he? He did. True, Penta did, but he didn't have that many eliminations? But I give Penta that.
No,
Props to
he
Penta.
didn't. Yeah, he didn't have too many eliminations. He might have had
Props,
just one.
props to Penta on that. Those are probably my only complaints. That's kind of creative laziness within the Royal Rumble. But as far as the match specifically, I enjoyed it. I loved I loved the elimination of CM Logan eliminating CM Punk. That popped me. That elimination popped me because a lot of people thought CM Punk was winning. I mentioned this in the chat as well. That definitely came from Hulk Hogan. That elimination came from Hulk Hogan. Like this is a Trump friend. This is a Hogan friend. CM Punk just called him out for I'm no Hogan supporter by any means, but CM Punk calls him out publicly. Somebody they're doing business with for something that I'm pretty sure WWE don't want them to know Hogan carry him in that light, still doing business with him for virtue signaling purposes. And he gets eliminated by Logan Paul, who's friends with Hogan and Hand Trump. That was hilarious. Jay winning, well, as far as the whole Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, I love that after that double stomp on Roman was absolutely crazy.
Fire.
That was crazy. I'm like, wow, he really just stumped his head in the ground like that. I don't know how much contact he made with the floor, but Roman, if he did sell it, he sold that very well. I don't know what they're gonna do with CM Punk now. That was his shot. That was his last shot at main event in WrestleMania. I don't think CM Punk should main event WrestleMania just for the sake of doing it. Of course, I'm sure he's gonna have a high spot in WrestleMania at the show, but him getting put, I guess they could make it a number one contender thing between those three, but adding CM Punk into that CM Punk he's been kind of assed out with him getting injured and not winning this Royal Rumble, in my opinion. But Jay winning, that was the right move. I didn't think John Cena should have won, especially with them. After seeing who the final people were, John Cena could not win that match in that context, eliminating Jay Uso. Where does Jay go from there? So people saying John Cena should have won, whilst like 10, 15 years ago, they would be complaining in that same context. So Jay Uso, I enjoyed it, but out of those creative lapses, outside of that, I thought it was good.
And
I
one
give it
more
a six
thing,
out of 10.
the only now I had a slight problem with not that Braun eliminated Jacob Fatu, but because of how easy he did it. Like Jacob Fatu and Roman both had 4 eliminations. He shouldn't have eliminated him that easily. It should have been like a struggle where like both eliminate each other. I
Yeah,
feel like
that
that
was
was too
wild.
easy.
He literally just, yeah, that was wild. He just
But
literally threw him over.
yeah, but Dave, what you think about the Royal Rumble?
Um, I think y'all make a lot of points I agree with. I would give it maybe I'll probably lean like 7 out of 10. Um, I thought it was a fun. It was fun. It was a fun night of wrestling. Um, I agree with y'all. The 2 out of 3 falls match that was my bathroom break slash get a snack moment. I wasn't too invested in that. Um, but I thought this was the greatest women's Royal Rumble of all time. I thought they laid it out really well. Got the big surprise Alexa pop. You got the big Charlotte return. Nikki Bella and Trish Stratus gave us, the legendary returns. I'm not the biggest Nikki Bella fan, but I do think she could add some value to the women's division in her own way. So I was cool with that. My only critique I would say is I wish I think it's probably because she's not healthy enough, but I wish Jade Cargill was in the Rumble. I think it's probably the injury that kept her out. And I do think Becky Lynch being in the Rumble would have made sense and gave some star power, but I don't think it harmed the Rumble match at all. Um, y'all know me from the streams. I'm the biggest John Cena fan out here, and I was of course rooting for him. Um, but I ain't gonna beat up on Jay. I understand why he won it, and he has paid his dues, and he is the hottest act probably outside of Cody Rhodes. He's selling merchandise. He's making a lot of money. He's hot, so I respect him winning. My only problem with the Jay winning is this: we saw him fight Gunther a good 3 times within the last year or so. How are you gonna sell us on this match being different? And if he picks Cody Rhodes, how are you gonna sell us on on him being a real threat to Cody Rhodes? I, I'm not
Uh,
dissing Jay Uso, but let's put it into perspective. Like, even if you're the biggest Jay Uso fan in the world, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. It could go either way. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes could go either way. Gunther versus Cena could go either way. How are you going to build this up to make us think that Jay could go either way with either Cody or Gunther? Or if he picks Gunther, how are you going to make the match different? I personally think they should consider maybe making it a multi-man match if he picks Gunther, or make it a street fight or something, because I'm not dissing Jay, but he does need to be carried in the ring. And I think we can't just rinse and repeat and give that as a WrestleMania main event. We make it different, and I hope they do so. But I thought the men's Royal Rumble was good. I wish there was more surprises. Like I wouldn't have been mad even if Goldberg came in there for a few minutes and was a legendary surprise or something like that. But I thought it was all right, and I loved where they're going with Punk, Roman, and Rollins. But I'd love to hear y'all thoughts, man. How can we make Jay, how can we make it different if he picks Gunther? And if he picks Cody, how do we sell him as a serious threat?
I
so I
got.
have
Oh, go ahead, Ed. You want to go first?
okay. So what I'm thinking if he does choose, hey, let's go the route if he chooses Cody. You obviously know they got the history when Jay quit SmackDown. Cody brought him back. You got a lot of history there. And I think no matter who he picks, he's going to be in the lab. He's going to be working. I think he's going by WrestleMania. I think he'll be a better wrestler, and he's going to be wrestling consistently. Like we can rely on Jay to be wrestling consistent matches, cutting promos, even though he's going to be out of breath all the time. But I think you can. I think you can do a good job doing that. But it only makes sense for him to face Cody if you turn Cody heel, because it's like that bloodline stuff still happened. He still cost him the WWE Championship at his first opportunity to win it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could turn Cody heel. He still has as much reasons as he has to be cool with Jay, he has the other reasons to be mad at him. Because it's like Jay, he has the option of, oh, I could face Cody, who's been my friend over this last year, but it's like this the WWE Championship. I want to bring this title back to my family. And then it's like you got the option of Gunther, who's I've been so close, but it's like, oh, somebody interferes. Oh, he achieves a few power bombs for me, then I lose the match. And you can now you do Gunther. I say you do a last man standing match, and it's like you don't have Gunther take the pin there. You have Jay out last man standing. Like you build it up. Like he kept getting so close every time that by WrestleMania he finally learned how to beat Gunther, and he knows his moves. He knows how to pick his spots, this and that. And then you can tell that story in the main event, and then Jay beating him in a last man standing match. Then, because I think it just depends on how they build it up. If you do Gunther, I think that's the way you got to go. If you do Cody, you got to turn him heel. Because what he did, like, look at how aggressive he was in the match with Kevin Owens. And him talking and stuff afterwards. Like, is that not what a heel would do? So, and we know Cody can be a heel. Like, we've seen it before. But it's like, I don't know if WWE want to go that route yet.
I like your creative eye, and I like where you're going with the Gunther stuff. If they were to do that, me personally, I don't think they should approach the Gunther at all, the Gunther thing with Jay at all. We've seen it like making it a stipulation to that match adds nothing to it because there was really no story. I like Gunther. I like him, but I don't like him. Like he should not be world champion. Like Gunther. Yeah, that goes. I'm not trying to digress too much, but I don't think they should go into the Jay Gunther thing at all. I think Cody and Jay, that the story right there really sells itself. You can go either way, right? Cody brought Jay to Raw. They won tag championships together. If you want, you can go with the Cody turning on Jay with him costing him the world championship back then, or just edging it up to keep his championship. He could just edge it up. He don't even have to necessarily turn heel. You could just have a grudge world championship match. And then with the CM Punk Rollins and Roman thing, that can make a number one contender for well, I don't know what the shakeup stuff, right? I think they're all three on Raw. I don't know where Roman is, but I don't even know what the shakeup stuff. But I would have Jay win at WrestleMania for sure. Cody cannot win this match. Cody is not. No, we're not doing that with Cody. We're not doing a year plus reign with Cody. Cody must lose either way. Either if it's him losing as a heel or him losing as an edged up babyface trying to keep his championship. I really want it that way. Then because that leaves more time for him to turn heel and more story in between that time. Then depending on whoever wins that match, that situation between Rollins, Roman, and Punk, they either face whoever's the champ between whoever faces Gunther, or they can face Jay. Imagine if it's Roman that wins that, and Roman end up facing Jay for the world championship. Yeah, you got the Ula Father back, Roman, but that Ula Father don't mean nothing. I'm the champion of the WWE, and then you could go later with Cody. Cody don't have to turn heel until SummerSlam or whatever. Then, with The Rock taking his break, smartly taking himself out of the storyline in a way, for momentarily, he could end up coming back and winning the championship match with Jay. So I think Cody Rhodes would be the smart thing, facing a WWE champion, because they take it way more. They have way more stock into Cody than they do Gunther business wise, and more. They got more investment in Jay than they do Gunther. So Jay facing Gunther in any way is a step back. If we looking at this on a boxing level, Jay is the A side on this.
Yeah, I also think with Cody, if you
Let me
like, you
ask
just told this.
do y'all think there's a chance? My fault. Do y'all think there's a chance Gunther drops the title to somebody else in a curveball before WrestleMania?
That's what I want to happen. Me personally, I want that to happen.
Me too.
Gunther does not deserve to, and I don't like to get into deserve. I don't like to get into that either. But Gunther, in my opinion, should not be walking into WrestleMania as champion.
I don't see it. I see him keeping the title. What I was gonna say about Jay and Cody is you could tell the story of like Cody being overconfident. Like he can mention like you done been in all these championship matches, but you only won once, and you held the title for 28 days. So that'll really like cut deep if they did that promo. And like
Mm-hmm.
Cody could be overconfident going into the match, thinking that it's gonna be easy because he has more single success than Jay does. Because he done won the IC title before. He the WWE champion right now, and then Jay could like use that as motivation to win that match. Then that shocks Cody, and that's when he goes into like, yeah, instead of
But
just
no,
me,
here start to switch. It takes
yeah,
time though. You don't have to. You don't have to do it. I don't think they're really committed to that, but that's what I would go with it. But yeah, give it time. Right, give it a months long, 6 month long build up to have Cody turn at SummerSlam. Give him a rematch at SummerSlam. And it's a simple low blow or a simple whatever. And then Cody turns heel.
yeah, and then to the Gunther thing,
With the Gunther thing,
I
if
don't
he
know who.
really want, he could beat Champ, have John Cena win, and have John Cena face Gunther. Like
Yeah,
John Cena could build Gunther.
that's what I want to happen. I want John Cena to beat Gunther for the championship because like Gunther's a really great in ring worker. Now the promos I'm not a fan of, but he's a great in ring. Can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
So you have John Cena beat him to win a 17 world title. I think like he's talking about wanting to have value to his legacy. Well, you lose to Cena, then that's how your championship reign ends. So be
Like
happy.
what's the legacy of Gunther's championship, bro?
I
I
mean, he
like I like Gunther. I see Gunther. He only had 12 title reigns in that IC championship reign. Like Honky Tonk Man had more than that, and he the second longest reigning. Honky Tonk Man a better IC champion than Gunther. I'm sorry. Like Gunther, he's good. He's cool. Me personally, the ring general stuff, it really they don't like to say it, but the ring general, his whole Gunther real character, he's really supposed to be a Nazi. That's what he really was. Like if you saw like what he's no, literally look 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 at Gunther's look at the text of his Titantrons and stuff, and look what they put. Look, no, I'm so serious. Look at the text of the
Nah,
wording
I
on the
know what you mean.
like,
so you
bro.
so you calling
That
him Kanye West?
no, that he's supposed to be this super elitist. He's damn near
Dictator. Yeah.
dictator. Yes, he's supposed to be that, and he's not doing that, and he's making it wrestling. Like I'm the ring general. Like you can't do that with a guy who's not a super wrestler guy. Like he did it with Damian Priest, and did he? And this was so cheap by WWE. He called him street trash. Like you gotta go deeper than that, bruh. Like you gotta JBL it up, especially if that's what he's trying to portray. But again, they made it into the ring general. Like it's not good. Like if they not gonna commit to that, don't do it at all. Like that's why I don't like the Gunther character because they changed it because that's what it was supposed to be. But now they're just making it ring general. Like that's I don't like that.
Yeah, but he
What do you think about that, Dave? Do you see where I'm coming from? Because I can't be the only one that saw that.
No, I see what you're coming from. Listen. I think Gunther's badass in the ring. Good, really good in the ring. Knows how to make his matches physical. I do think the last few months his reign has been a little boring, but I think some of that is because they haven't been giving him very strong stories and opponents. It started off good with Randy Orton and facing Damian Priest and all that, but I do think he's cooled down a little bit as far as like being interesting. Um, but I do think that I do think it would make the road to WrestleMania a lot interesting if someone like I don't know, someone like Drew McIntyre or CM Punk beat Gunther.
Or Dirty
And,
Dom.
right, someone
What a
beat
twist
Gunther.
if Dirty Dom beat Gunther before WrestleMania.
It would be interesting, and I think it would make Jay's options like it would freshen up the options. I just don't. I honestly don't want to see Gunther versus Jay another time, if I'm being honest. And it feels like that's where they're going.
Yeah, I hope they just decide to do Jay and Cody because I think you can tell a better story, especially with them having more history. Like you could easily tell, like, oh, he knows how to beat Gunther now, but it's like if it ends with if he loses that match, like if he loses, that'll just be a waste of a Royal Rumble. 'Cause it's like Jay Uso is so hot right now, and you give him this win over a retired John Cena and some other guys that have momentum. That's like he's super over, selling the merch. I mean, he had 15-minute entrances. The crowd yeets, then they stop, then they eat again. So it's like this guy's so over. Like you have to give him the world championship at WrestleMania and make
True.
main event Jay Uso mean something. And he don't even got to hold it that long. Like if he loses at SummerSlam, I don't think nobody tripping about that. What? That's
Right.
4 months. So
I
he,
think I
I
think he's
definitely think he's gonna win it.
I definitely WWE. This is something that I'm noticing, and I really don't like it. WWE is inflating these title reigns. Like Roman Reigns' title reign, as much as good as it was, it's inflated. Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns had how many championship defenses in that? If we like to talk about Brock during his reign as Universal Champion, if people hated that, a lot of people did, but I personally enjoyed it. But uh, that like they're inflated. Like how many title he's part time? How many title reigns he's gonna have in it? Not to mention Roman, I guess, and even in storyline, he had the bloodline. A lot of those defenses he did not win clean. Roman did not win clean,
you know
and
his most, the most clean defense he had against Matt Riddle on a random SmackDown. That's the
exactly
only person he's beat. Maybe he's beat two other people clean, but that's the only one I can remember. Matt Riddle on a random SmackDown.
Roman
Like
Reigns
other than
didn't
that,
have
I can't
no
think of other.
clean win. Brock had clean wins in his at least in Brock's reign as Universal Champion, he had clean wins. Roman Reigns had no clean wins during that whole championship reign, and with these new reigns, I think for the wrestlers in their eyes, they think how long it is that's what's greater or that makes him a better champion, but it doesn't matter about how long it is. It matters how impactful it is. Like if Jay has it until SummerSlam, that can build the hunt for years to come. If or the next time he win it, that makes it even more special. Like
Yeah, you can have
Gunther,
a
if I don't think if Gunther will not, I'm sure, I'm positive. I can guarantee you, after Gunther loses the championship, he will not have it again for a year at least. I guarantee you that. I
the
guarantee you
thing.
that.
Then yes, you can have a good title reign without it being super long. Like the thing, Gunther, like it started off good, but you gotta have actual stories that you're telling. Like you gotta, like Jay Uso, he kind of just got a championship match for saying yeet and asking, "Hey, I want a championship match. Hey, we need something in Saturday night's main event." Well, here it is. Like there wasn't no story behind it. Like we've seen this a few times before, and that's why it wouldn't make sense to do Jay and Gunther again. It's like it's no story behind it. Like you gotta have number one contenders matches. These guys that's fighting. You gotta have multiple guys contending for the, like you put Sami Zayn and CM Punk in a number one contenders in a elimination chamber qualifying match. And Sami Zayn is not reaching CM Punk's level. Like okay, you main evented WrestleMania night one. CM Punk held a world title for 434 days. Those two things do not equate to each other.
Right. I I mentioned this briefly in the I'm glad you just brought that up. I'm so glad you just brought that up. I mentioned this briefly in the group chat as well. WWE gotta stop having WWE has to stop having these superstars spit out their corporate jargon in these promos. Like that, for example. Like Sami
Oh,
Zayn and Jay Uso bragging about main event in WrestleMania when two nights of WrestleMania just start happening a couple of years ago and nobody else before y'all would ever brag about anything like that. Number two, every superstar like sucking off WWE saying how successful it is as it is now, which is objectively not true. You're just charging people more than ever. Like
yeah,
they
but
gotta stop doing that.
I feel like it, in a way, like it is two nights. Night one is a main event, but it's like certain things just don't equate to each other. Like if CM Punk mentions that I held a title for the world title for 434 days, the main event isn't topping that. Like you want
No,
a tag team title match while he had the world championship for over a year. Like those two things just don't equate to each other.
Right, and like I mentioned in the group chat, that's one way that the company gets these superstars to drink that Kool Aid and buy into that, to not want a better spot. Like I give credit to not Becky, Bianca and Sasha for being the two first black women to main event at WrestleMania, but when we think about it, why isn't black men main event at WrestleMania? Why did it take so long for you to make two nights for black people to main event WrestleMania? Like,
Yeah,
so there's just stuff we think about, like why they got people keep saying this stuff in these promos. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin would never brag about main eventing night one at WrestleMania.
and he beat Kevin Owens too when they did main event.
Yeah, he beat him. Steve Austin beat him. Right.
So that's I don't see how you could brag about losing to an aging Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy, but yeah, that's just something. Also, I don't like WWE doing in their promos. That's a motif that I'm noticing in promos.
Yeah, Dave said he had to head out, but let's talk about some of this trade deadline stuff to wrap up. And who do you think some of the biggest winners is from the trade deadline?
Uh, winners. Winners. Well, of course. I mean, in the long term, you could say the Lakers. Long term, whenever that is, I guess uh, uh that's based on whenever LeBron retires. But of course, Luka, the Lakers picking up LeBron. Of course. Um, a long term. I'm trying to think. Trying to think what else. Well, of course, the Clippers just got Ben Simmons. That's confirmed now. I guess that could be beneficial. I just want to wait and see with that. Um, long term, I would have to go with Luka, the biggest one. I mean, these short term moves aren't the best in my opinion.
Yeah, I do like it for the Lakers. I think the Spurs came out as big winners, being able to keep all their key pieces and get De'Aaron Fox. Like they still got Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, Sohan. Like they got all their key guys, and they're just able to slide in Fox and him and CP3 starting.
Yeah, I want to see the Spurs making good moves. I just want them to build an entire 15 men around Wimby because they still got more moves to make. I don't think De'Aaron Fox is enough, not to make the playoffs this season, or a real big noise in the West at least, because De'Aaron Fox still on the outskirts of the uh, uh, All Star game. But they doing a good thing. I would say the Spurs won for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Then I think the Raptors come out of this as winners too. And it's reported that Brandon Ingram is going to sign an extension.
And
So
so
I think
he's saying, wow.
yeah. And I seen somebody call this the first ever super play-in team, but they got Ingram,
Uh,
Scotty, and RJ. I think that's going to be a solid trio in Toronto. Put some more pieces around,
yeah,
and I think
yeah,
it can be a fun young team to watch.
yeah. I guess Brandon Ingram got it. He secured his bag for sure. I don't know how far they gonna go with teams like Boston and Cleveland. Though we'll see it once hopefully, because Toronto don't come off as a dumb organization when they build around those three players. So we'll see.
Yeah. As far as lose, as far as losers go, the Warriors. I don't know what the Warriors were thinking. They gave
Warriors
up. They gave up a lot to get Jimmy. Then they giving him $60 million a year. That's
they
just
gave up a lot of assets and money. If Steph Curry stays on this team, hey man, that's what you want. You want your career cool to end like that. You like it, I love it. But I don't got Steph Curry in my top 10 if he don't get number 5. Like if he gets number 5, in my opinion, I already think he's better than them objectively. But if he gets number 5, he's unquestionably not only a top 10, he's better than Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. That's my personal opinion. But Steph Curry it's a lot riding on him getting that championship. And I don't know why the NBA still pushing this LeBron train and they're not pushing that. I don't know if he approved of this. If he did, that's even worse. But Bob Myers is gone. I'm not sure what his dynamic is with the new management in Golden State, but I don't know what's up with this. Did he approve of this? Do he want this? Do he want to still stay in Golden State? I don't know.
I don't
Their
know. I
mind,
mean,
Golden State's mind, their mind should always, since Steph Curry started winning, since he won MVP, since that started, since Flash Bulls got famous, their mind should always have been on optimizing his career. And I think with that decision, it's starting to skirt off, deviate from that. So I'm just wondering if he approved of this or not, because that would determine where he's cool with in his career.
yeah, because like I know you seen the short I made, but it's like it seemed like Draymond really ruined his team. First, it started with him and the drama with Kevin Durant. Then you got the situation where he punched Poole, and then I seen reports. Apparently, I don't know if it was him or it was something else, but like they could have had Laurie marketing, but I think Draymond had a say in what the front office could do. So
Yes,
it's like,
Draymond, you're so right. Draymond is ruining this team. Draymond, him wanting to stay on the team and keep that bad cop, good cop dynamic with Steph Curry, which I guess it works when there's other stars on the team. But when there's nobody else on the team, that's not going to work.
but
He's
you
trying
need
to
a
protect.
seven.
He's trying
You
to
need a
protect his spot with that
yeah,
marketing trade. He's protecting his spot. I'm sure if marketing is on that team, I don't know if they would have traded him, but I'm sure his name would have came up, not necessarily for the Jazz, but to another team.
and I feel like they could have kept Draymond if they got marketing, but I guess it's like they don't want to give. I know they really high on pods, but it's like if you want Steph to win, you got to trade him. You got to let go. Got to get
You
rid of
cannot.
him.
I brought this up. This was before we met each other. Before we met in one of my previous videos. It's very rare. I don't think we ever seen this. Probably only example we seen this was with John Havlicek in the dynasty Boston Celtics back in the day. It's very hard to build young guys at the same time as optimizing your star players. That's almost impossible. That's probably the only time that happened. John Havlicek seemingly became the leader um after Bill Russell left, and they
Yeah.
won championships years later. That's
Well, I
not
guess
that's not going to happen with these players. You gotta
yeah.
get rid of those young guys and get Steph Curry some help.
Well, I guess with the Celtics now, you got Brown and Tatum who are young and stars. So I guess that's kind of different. But they
Yeah,
but they were still
yeah.
competing while building them up though, because they had Kyrie at one. They was getting to the conference finals. So it's like
Wow,
they haven't
wow.
been
You
building them
brought
up
up
for.
a great. I never thought of that. That's a great example. This modern inclination, this modern iteration of the Celtics. Wow, because they are still young. They came in still teaming with each other. They won a championship, and they're still building around this core, which is still
Yeah,
young. That's a great point.
yeah. Then like some other teams like I don't know what the actually forget the Hawks because I don't know what they doing, but the Suns. I'm so confused on what uh, and Kevin Durant going in the summer. I don't know where he's gonna go, but they said he was throwing off here his name in trade rumors. You can't trade Bill, so you decide, hey, let's throw Kevin Durant under the bus. No, he came there because he wanted to play with Booker. He
Mm,
wanted to be in Phoenix, so it's like you doing that, and it's like you throwing him under the bus because you can't get rid of Bill, a large contract that nobody wants. And it's like
I
Kevin
mean,
Durant,
that's what you have to do, though. Like,
it is, but it's like apparently the Wizards and Hawks was trying to get Bradley Beal, which I don't think that makes any sense.
I am no longer a Suns fan, man. I can't be a Suns fan. I can't be a Suns fan after all this. So basically, the team from 2021 that made the finals, that all the continuity they built up to that is completely gone. Especially with this new ownership and stuff as well. After that Robert Sarver stuff happened a couple of years back, uh, that 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 Sarver stuff and this from the finals to the Robert Sarver stuff to the new ownership. That was the rise and fall of this Phoenix Suns as we know it. I was still cool. I wasn't mad as a Suns fan when we lost, when we got beat in 2022 against the Mavs. We just lost to the better team. And I was hurt in the moment, but I wasn't mad because we lost to the better team. Uh, After that, after we let go of Chris Paul and we didn't get no point guard, after just letting Chris Paul go. That gave me a cause pause. I'm like, oh damn, Devin Booker don't got no point guard. But Devin Booker, to his credit, he had a career high in assists, and he's a legit combo guard now. Devin Booker's a legit combo guard. He can average over 6 assists in a season. Uh, uh, After that, they trade Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson for KD. I was upset about that. Because KD, for all is worth, he's good. We already know that, but you got rid of the core. You got rid of your core for KD. Like KD, and that's not a guaranteed championship. We obviously saw they lost to the Suns that year. I mean the Nuggets. They lost to the Nuggets that year. And they won 49 games, I believe. They won 49 games.
Yeah,
Well,
something like that.
something like that. They won almost 50 games, so they were relatively good. But they lost to the eventual champs. They trade for Bradley Beal. That that put it over the top for me. I'm like, what is this new ownership doing? Bradley Beal has never shown me that he can be a top third guy on a championship team. Then you talk about his contract. This new ownership, Matt Ishbia don't believe in building stars. He don't believe in the draft. He believes in buying talent. And KD got a lie in his bed. I'm not upset with KD being traded. You came to this team and expect to win championships. We did this for you. Now we stuck with him because he don't. This is his contract. We got this contract. We wanted to make it work. We can't make it work. He don't want to leave because he feel like y'all wasted his time. Y'all wanted him here. Now y'all want to get rid of him. No, I'm not waiving my trade contract. I just moved here. No. So we're going to have to get something out of this. We're going to have to get rid of something. We're not getting rid of the player we drafted in 2017, 15, one of those years. I believe it was 15. I don't know. I don't remember. But so KD has to go. They gotta shop KD. Then with him being gone, they go. I'm pretty sure either it's gonna be him and Devin Booker there, or one of them going. And I hope it's not Booker. I hope Bill eventually say I want to go after KD go. They're gonna have to blow it up because I don't want to see Devin Booker going to another team. That's his team. The Suns is his team. So I'm no longer a Suns fan at all.
I definitely see Devin. I think Devin Booker could be a for lifer, but we just seen the Mavericks trade Lucas, so maybe those don't exist anymore. But I hope
Yeah.
Booker stay with the Suns for the rest of his career. But and we talked about some of the other trade stuff earlier. So to wrap it up, I'm gonna do the athletes of the week. I always reward people every week, different sports. For the NBA this week, I went with LeBron. Had 32, 12, and 11 against the Knicks last Saturday. Put up 26, 9, and 8 against the Clippers this week. And then he had 42 and 17 against the Warriors. The Lakers won all their games over the past week. Just putting us on his back this week, especially with AD being out in the trades and stuff, having to adjust playing without certain players. So LeBron had a spectacular week.
Very true. Hey, credit. Hey, I'm not credit to me personally. I believe I'm one of the more objective LeBron analysts of anybody. Shouts out to LeBron for doing that and having a team at 40 years old. Give him credit. Having them in the playoffs, they will in the playoffs. They're a well playoff team, and again, they just got rid of their second best player. They in limbo right now as far as their roster is concerned. So that is big for him. Me, I would go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They won all their games this week. They on a 4-game winning streak. J Dub, he was the player of the game they had last night against the Raptors with 27 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 25 with a return to Chet Holmgren. So I would give it to who more than likely is going to be the MVP, who just still consistent at the top spot of the league, NBA wise.
Okay. For WWE, I went with Jay Uso, him winning the Royal Rumble. The promo, like I said, it was real emotional. It was a great promo. And then the tag match that he had last night on SmackDown, it was a fun tag team match. You know what? They did a solid job. Him and Cody, they always do a solid job teaming up together. So I went with Jay.
Likewise, I'm going with Jay as well, winning the Royal Rumble, step up. This is a big step for him. Really solidifying himself as a main eventer. I've always been a fan of Jay Uso. Back in the days of seeing them debut in 2010 as a kid at fifth grade in 2010, man. I always thought Jay could branch out to be a single star. I always thought he had to look out of the twins. I thought this if they split up, he could do something, and it's been happening. Yeah, he's one of the most over people. It's kind of weird seeing the fans turn on him. I mean, I want him to face Cody. I want him to beat Cody. I want him to win the WWE Championship, not the secondary championship. I want him to win the championship he was facing Roman Reigns for. That would make this story make even more sense. And then we can keep going with that. You can legit build another star, a legit star with the top title, and then you can have him face the other stars. Then that trickles down to everybody else. So I'm going to go with Jey Uso and WWE as well.
Okay. For AEW, I went with Tony Storm. I don't know if you've seen this, but she building up this feud with Mariah May. And Tony Storm, she dressed as Mariah May in the match, and she ended up having a match with Queen Abinata. And Mariah May was on commentary, and it was so funny because they were trending as if she was actually Mariah May. Then it like kind of pissed her off in the moment. And then like she couldn't even go in the ring to approach Tony Storm after she won the match because it was just like they just blew her so much that she couldn't even say nothing about it. She was like, I'm the real Mariah May. She was going back to the back. It was a hilarious segment.
Cool. Nice.
For yeah, I started watching this golf league in Saudi Arabia, and then it was this one guy, Lucas Herbert. He finished. Now I got to watch the third round later today, but he was in third place after the first two rounds, and he finished in the. He had a -12, and it's like the first day he ended up struggling, but then he made a huge bounce back coming into third. So I'm gonna have to finish it later today to see who ended up winning that.
Cool.
But for it's a pro volleyball league that started. It's the Pro Volleyball Federation. It started last year. Then their
Okay.
second season, women's volleyball. I gave it to Rivera Wilma. She had 3 aces and 10 digs, and she led the Fury to their first win of the season. They've been struggling. They was 0-7, but they 1-7 now after the win they got last night.
Nice. Pro volleyball, nice. I might have to get in it again. I used to cover volleyball, so man, I wouldn't mind watching it.
Yeah, they got a YouTube channel. They stream their games on YouTube and Vibe TV. I usually just watch the games on YouTube and they post clips and stuff on the yes, the Pro Volleyball Federation.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, for TNA, I went with Jazz. She lost in the Battle Royal that she was in, but she had a good showing. Like her coming back, I wasn't expecting that because I know you and Couch had dropped a reel about Jazz and seeing
Hey,
her like,
not planned at all. I did not.
yeah, like
That was not planned at all. I did not expect that. That was pretty dope.
yeah, that was crazy. And
Yeah.
then for yeah, for women's college basketball, I went with Lauren Betts. She had the for UCLA, they won both their games this week. She had a game where she had 19 points, 14 rebounds, and three blocks, beating eighth ranked Ohio State. Then she had another game where she had 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists. And they won that game by 20 plus, so it's just really impactful. And she shot 60% from the field in both of those games and was dominant on offense and defense.
Nice. Cool.
But that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. I think it's episode 32 of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed. Had Dave on here. Shout out to Reg coming on. You can plug your channel if you want to.
Everybody coming at you full fledged. Your boy Rage Man Reg on all social media sites. Shouts out to Influential Sports allowed me to include some of my takes, man. Thank you for allowing me to come here, man. I enjoy your
Yep.
content. I intend on contributing to your channel more, and they just thank you. And for more like content similar to this, I talk about wrestling, sports, and world events here and there. Got to be interested in it, of course. Just come to the channel, check it out.
All right, peace.
See you later.